Executive Vice Premier. In 1991, Zhu Rongji was appointed as the Executive Vice Premier, responsible for finance, economic system reform, and planning. Premier of the State Council. From 1998 to 2003, Zhu Rongji served as the Premier of the State Council. Challenges: state-owned enterprise reform. During Zhu Rongji's tenure as Premier, China faced the issue of low efficiency and significant losses in state-owned enterprises. Reforming these enterprises was one of the major challenges he faced. Financial system reform. China's financial system had many problems at the end of the 1990s, including high non-performing loan ratios in banks and inadequate financial regulation. The rigidity of the financial system and the issue of non-performing assets in the banking system severely affected China's economic development. Zhu Rongji needed to promote its reform while stabilizing the financial system. Inflation. In the early 1990s, China experienced severe inflation. How to control the rise in prices was an important challenge for Zhu Rongji. Measures: state-owned enterprise reform. Zhu Rongji promoted large-scale restructuring of state-owned enterprises, closing some long-term loss-making enterprises, and simultaneously promoting shareholding system reform, introducing modern enterprise systems. Financial reform. He strengthened bank regulation, promoted the handling of non-performing assets, and improved China's financial system by introducing international financial management experience. Zhu Rongji promoted the reform of the financial system, including the restructuring of the four major state-owned commercial banks, stripping non-performing assets, and introducing commercial operations. Financial regulation was strengthened, and the China Banking Regulatory Commission and the China Securities Regulatory Commission were established. Effectiveness. The non-performing assets of banks were effectively handled, and the risks in the financial system were significantly reduced. The transparency and regulatory strength of the financial market were improved, promoting the healthy development of the financial market. Zhu Rongji strengthened macro control by adopting tight monetary and fiscal policies, controlling the scale of investment and money supply. Strengthened regulation of the real estate market and bank loans to prevent the emergence of a bubble economy. Anti-corruption measures. Zhu Rongji was known for his tough anti-corruption stance. He promoted a series of anti-corruption measures, including strengthening discipline inspection and auditing, severely investigating corruption cases, combating official corruption, and improving the credibility of the government. He improved the transparency of government operations, implementing government affairs openness, and clean government construction. Achievements: economic growth. Under Zhu Rongji's leadership, China's economy continued to grow rapidly, and the gross domestic product (GDP) significantly increased. International status improvement. Zhu Rongji successfully promoted China's accession to the World Trade Organization (WTO), significantly enhancing China's global economic status. Fiscal prudence. By implementing fiscal austerity policies and economic structural adjustments, he controlled inflation to a certain extent, maintaining fiscal prudence. The inflation rate was effectively controlled, and economic growth maintained a higher speed but was healthier and more sustainable. Through stable macroeconomic policies, China's economy achieved a soft landing. Achievements. Through large-scale state-owned enterprise reforms, most loss-making enterprises turned from loss to profit, improving the overall efficiency of the state-owned economy. In the late 1990s, about more than 4,000 state-owned enterprises were closed or restructured, and millions of workers were laid off, but this helped to reduce the financial burden on the state. By the end of 2000, the total profit of state-owned enterprises increased from a loss of 20 billion yuan in 1997 to a profit of more than 300 billion yuan. The non-performing loan ratio of state-owned commercial banks decreased from over 30% in 1998 to about 10% in 2002. Through austerity policies, successfully curbed economic overheating and high inflation. Zhu Rongji took measures such as raising interest rates and restricting credit to control excessive investment. The inflation rate decreased from 24.1% in 1994 to 2.8% in 1997. During Zhu Rongji's tenure as the Premier of the State Council 1998 to 2003, China's real estate market underwent a series of significant changes. Challenges. Housing system reform. At the end of the 20th century, China's housing system was in the process of transitioning from a welfare housing allocation system to a market-oriented housing system. How to stabilize housing prices and meet residents' housing needs during the marketization process was a major challenge. Economic growth and urbanization. With rapid economic growth and accelerated urbanization, the demand for housing increased significantly, especially in large cities, putting tremendous pressure on housing prices. Regulation of the real estate market. The real estate market at the time was not fully regulated, with many issues such as irregular land supply and unqualified developers, leading to significant market fluctuations. Measures promoting housing system reform. During his tenure, Zhu Rongji continued to promote housing system reform, accelerating the exit of the welfare housing system and promoting the commodification and marketization of housing, establishing a housing supply system dominated by the market with government support. Increasing housing supply. To cope with the rapidly growing demand for housing, the government took a series of measures to increase housing supply, including accelerating land supply and encouraging real estate development. Regulating the real estate market. The government introduced a series of policies and regulations to regulate the real estate development and transaction market, strengthen the management of developer qualifications, and promote the healthy development of the real estate market. Mortgage policies. During Zhu Rongji's government tenure, housing loan policies were gradually introduced and improved, encouraging commercial banks to issue housing loans, reducing the threshold for purchasing homes, and improving residents' ability to buy homes. Achievements. Initial success of housing system transformation. Through a series of reform measures, China gradually established a market-oriented housing supply system, and the welfare housing system basically exited the historical stage, accelerating the process of housing commodification. Increased housing supply. With the government's promotion, real estate development accelerated, and the supply of housing increased significantly, to some extent alleviating the problem of housing shortages. Overall stable housing prices. Although housing prices in large cities have risen, under the dual role of government regulation and marketization reform, housing prices have generally remained relatively stable, without significant fluctuations. Impact. The real estate market reforms during Zhu Rongji's tenure laid the foundation for the healthy development of China's real estate market. Through a series of reforms and policy measures, the marketization process of China's real estate market was promoted, the supply of housing increased, and the market was standardized. The measures he took to a certain extent stabilized housing prices, promoting the balance of housing supply and demand.